Alrighty. Hi everyone, this is Ion Blaze. And I apologize, this video is probably going to be pretty long, but I want to give it its due justice. I've spent a lot of time on both Project 1999 and EQ Live, so I really do want to give my best impression of what it's like to play both games. So that's what this video is. It's a comparison of playing P99 versus playing Everquest Live, especially on time lock progression specifically. I've done a little bit on the live servers where the current expansion's out, but it's not totally fair to compare the two because they're different. But anyways, let's get into it. So first, my qualifications. I've been playing both. I've been playing P99 for at least a couple years now as a bard, and I've been playing live since the start of the server last month. I think, yeah, last month. And I've rated at least something like 15 to 20 times. I've been max level for a couple weeks now. I've got a pretty good grasp of what it's like to play on both different servers and the major differences between the two. So let's get into it, shall we? And lastly, before we actually do begin, I'm probably going to say some stuff that might tick off people from each respective community. It's in no means do I mean to be disrespectful or anything in that regard. This is just how I view things, and if you disagree, please let me know in the comments. Please make your voice heard. Maybe if I got something wrong, which I usually do, I say something wrong even though it comes out differently in my words than in my head. Comes out differently. But the words I say then from my head, and it's not always correct. I remember that the P99 community is particularly vitriolic in some regards. Some people are that I will never play live. They made it too easy, or all X, Y, and Z. There's like this hostility towards live, and I had that too. I had that too for the longest time. I said I never play live. They made it too easy. And then you know what? I gave it a shot. I tried out TLP, and honestly, I don't want to go back. I don't think the arguments that are made are truly valid, to be honest. I think just people don't want to start over again. But that could be also a naive opinion. But let's get into it. Let's enough introduction. Okay, so here I got a Word document, and hopefully I can use it, make it a little bit more clear. I can go through all the bullet points. Alright, so the first one I want to mention. I can go over all the aspects. This video is going to be from soloing to grouping to rating and pretty much topics in between. Not necessarily organized, but from there. So let's talk about soloing versus grouping. The best way to get EXP. What's the fastest way to level? What I've noticed is that it's arguably better to solo on P99 than to group for experience on P99, where it's actually the opposite on live. And why do I say that? On live, let's see, you're probably going to be going to some dungeon that's quite scary that you probably are not super familiar with. But so here's the thing, corpse runs are a major pain in the butt on P99 because they're actually how they were in Classic, where all your items stay on the corpse. In live, that's not the case. Items are not stuck on the corpse. So, I mean, yeah, the corpse is there, and you do want to res it to get the EXP back, but it's not a life or death sort of thing of where, oh crap, my gear's gonna rot. That's not as much of a concern. So it's not as punishing necessarily to learn a new dungeon that you've never been in before on live as it is on P99. On P99, one mistake and you've got a major pain in the butt corpse run that's basically gonna ruin your freaking day. So I find grouping is less punishing. Grouping, also, the thing is, I noticed that you pretty much get the same amount of EXP per mob grouping as you do soloing on live. So you might as well group. And why I say that is that you can kill mobs faster in a group than you can soloing on live. So you might as well just get the faster rate of EXP, and you have the extra safety net if you got other people in that group that could bail you out. What about P99? Well, it's more risky to go to those dungeons, so you don't want to go group in those dungeons because the corpse runs to be a major pain in the butt if you don't have the tools to retrieve the corpse. Say, like Lower Guck, where me as a bard, I only have invisibility against living mobs. I don't have invis against undead. I could try to lull my way past some mobs. I'm still risking death just for a corpse run. So I never wanted to group anywhere indoors on P99 just because it was so risky. Almost all my levels I got from outdoor zones, and for also almost all my levels I got from soloing, because the grouping EXP rate, there seems to be, it's more of a split. You got the split. It doesn't seem like you're splitting a piece of pie on live. It seems like you get the whole piece of pie itself because the EXP bonuses they altered. Whereas it seems like on P99, it's more that you're only getting a small slice of that pie if you're in a group. The EXP bonuses aren't necessarily that good. And soloing, you don't have to share the EXP. So you can pretty much kill, and arguably about the same amount of mobs about the same amount of time, say swarm kiting on P99, as you could grouping. But you get to keep all the EXP, and you get to keep all the money. So why not? If you can solo, do it. And it kind of stinks because Everquest is this really cool game that was designed to be social. I had the most fun not soloing. I hate soloing. It's boring. It's grouping. Grouping is where you get to let your class shine and show everyone how awesome you are. That's what makes the game fun, is people admiring how awesome you are at playing your class, I guess. And I don't feel like it actively really encourages it on P99, honestly. I really don't. I do need to say one thing. With the patches that got implemented on live, they did change the EXP, the leveling requirements and the EXP requirements per level. They smoothed it out. There's no more hell levels. There's none of that. So, I mean, it may not necessarily be the pie example. It may not necessarily be correct, to be honest. It may be an understatement. Maybe the difference truly is that the EXP got just smoothed out. The EXP requirements per level just got smoothed out, and you're still getting the same amount, but you're not having to deal with these hell levels that require even more than the previous level that relatively past the prior level that you were doing. It's more of a pain. It doesn't seem to be as much of an issue. From what I've asked people here on the server, 50 to 60 is not that bad, from what I was told. You can basically do it in a day or two, from what I asked people in my guild on live. Whereas there's a reason why I'm still 59 on Mangler, and I'm not going to go past it. It's not worth the effort. I mean, not Mangler, but on P99, it's not worth the effort on a dead end server to go up to 60 when it's like a quadruple hell level. It's, oh my god, it's such a pain. I don't even want to deal with it. So that's honestly my impression of soloing versus grouping. As P99 rewards soloing more than grouping. It's less punishing to solo, where I feel grouping is better on live. On TLP specifically, the current day servers that aren't TLP, you're not going to find any groups lower level. You're not going to. You're going to have to mercenary it all the way up, which just kind of sucks. That's not what the game was designed to be social, not like that. And honestly, if you don't want to spend any money, you don't want to pay any money to play on a TLP, and you want a group, play P99. Play P99 because you're not going to find groups playing. Or if you have friends, you could do live, but play P99. Because you're not going to find any groups leveling up on live if you play the current 25th expansion server. TLP, yeah, you're good, but not the other way around. The next one I'll talk about is advanced loot window versus the old way. There's not even an argument about this. This is better. Hands down. This is so much better than the classic looting shenanigans. Like, let me kill a mob real quick and see if I can get a drop. Weird. Nothing dropped. There we go. Okay, so something dropped. Okay. So you notice I don't have to right-click the mob to loot it, which is great. Automatically pops up. You can set what your loot preferences are. Do you want to always pick it up? Do you want to always never pick it up? Do you want to leave it? Do you want to loot it, etc.? You can give it to a specific person. Let me kill another mob. Yeah, you want to give it to a different person. Do you want to auto-roll the item if you're in a group to other group members? So much easier. And let me show. And you can still do the classic way. This is the classic way. So if I were to leave it on the corpse, you can loot it the old way, the old school way. Man, it sucks. Man, it sucks. I had so many items just... I had so many items just rot when I was swarm kiting because I couldn't loot them fast enough in time before all the mobs died. Before I killed them all, that it was just a waste of a lot of loot. Whereas on here, not as much of a concern, to be honest. Definitely not as much of a concern. It will auto loot for you. And just the fact that, like, say if you're killing mobs that drop sellable items, you can just auto roll the item right here, or you can automatically give it to someone. If it's like a special item, like a gear upgrade, you can just automatically give it to someone. Or handling loot and raids is so much easier here. This system is so much better than the classic, and it looks a bit scary at first, but so much better than the old school traditional one. And as cool as you can, look, and it's all set up. I never want to loot alluring horns because I already got one. I always want to loot gems. I always want to loot bone chips, etc. You can set all your loot things so you don't have to be spammed all the time with loot, and you don't have to deal with the drama of, okay, it's your turn to loot. Okay, it's the next person's turn to loot. Oh, they're AFK, so they're not looting. I'll loot it for them so the corpse doesn't rot. You don't have to deal with any of that crap. It just handles it for you. So much better. So much better. Looks scary at first, but believe me, it's such a major life convenience. So definitely definitely much better. You know what? Let me do one thing. Changes. Who wins? P99 or TLP? If I think P99 did a particular feature better, I'm going to put it in red. And if I think TLP did it better, I'm going to put it in... what's a color that really stands out? Purple. Okay. So I think TLP did grouping better, and definitely TLP does advanced looting way better. The looting system is way better. Soloing is better on P99 because they didn't do all the nerfs, like the AoE bard swarming and all that stuff. Want to talk about other things, just general about grouping. Grouping features, convenience features, which is going to be marking member group roles, marking NPCs, and loot distribution. Master looter. So if you look in some of my previous videos, especially grouping, you can see some of these really nice features that got implemented in live. For example, on live, you can mark what roles you want someone to be in a group. You can mark who do you want to be the main tank, who do you want to be the main assist, who do you want to mark NPCs. You can mark mobs, NPCs 1, 2, and 3. So they got a big 1 next to their name. They got a big 2 next to their name. Like, okay, so perfectly mana battery. So you see, yeah, roles. I can make him the main tank. I can make him the main assist. And what's cool about that is you can make a macro assist main. You never have to change the name of the person here. I don't have to put mana battery in to make him an assist. With the looting, yeah, the master looter, marking NPCs. Watch that. So look, I can, let me find a mob. Yeah, look at that. 1, 2. It puts like, it helps out so much with charm mobs that you have. Yeah. Helps out so much with charm mobs. Those convenience features are tremendous, and even again the looting thing of where you can set something to auto roll. It's so helpful. Thank you, Ryboss, for the demonstration. That stuff is so tremendously helpful. So helpful. So, yeah, those again, grouping is way better in that regard. Definitely way better in that regard. Not as easy, but I mean, P99 is not as easy, and you can make that argument that oh, it's more classic and all that, but whatever. Next thing I'm going to talk about corpse runs. Which again, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. It is better on live. Corpse runs and accessibility of certain zones. I already touched this, but you know, what if you're dealing with some really nasty dungeon where it's going to be a pain in the butt to do a corpse run? Who cares on live? It doesn't matter. Your gear doesn't rot on the corpse. So you just want the res, and that's whatever. You can earn EXP back. It's not that bad. Corpse runs, hands down, way better on live. You don't have to deal with... Here's one of the biggest things I notice. Anytime there's a group wipe, anytime that someone dies, it's usually they use an excuse on both games to get out of the group. To leave the group. It's basically a full group wipe is the death of a group. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's why I hate it. At least if you have a group wipe on live, it's not as much of a pain in the butt to recover as it is on P99. It can be an hours long affair on P99. I remember we had a wipe at Finnegal with like 2 groups on P99, and it took 4 hours to get our frickin' corpses recovered. It was a pain. Pain. And it's not fun to just sit there for 4 frickin' hours waiting for a res. I don't call that fun. This is the biggest thing I'm going to mention. The biggest thing between the 2 games. I don't think it's necessarily that live is easier than P99. It is in some regards. Yeah, it is. That's undeniable. It's not so much that the features that were put in on live made live easier than P99. It's the features that were put in on live were huge time and convenience factors. You don't have to spend as much time dealing with the BS that is corpse runs. You don't have to deal as much with the issues of communication and groups because you can obviously mark what the charm pet is or who the main tank is. You don't have to deal with all the issues of handling loot on P99 and trying to distribute it out of who gets what item. You don't have to deal with that garbage as much on live because it's already built in for you. It's already handled for you. The melody command, for instance, where I don't have to manually twist everything. The pick zone feature where you can always probably find an open camp in any zone. This is the major point I want to harp on. Yes, these convenience features could argument make the game a bit easier, but they also save you from such a major pain in the butt that is the major time sink that is classic Everquest, especially instancing. God, instancing is an amazing feature. When there was an announcement recently that P99 Green server's coming out soon. There are a hint that it is. Let me go to the forums. News and announcements. Hey guys. There's a hint from Rogan that Green server is likely coming out in October. And he mentions, hey guys. Dear God. Dear God. At least on live, you have the pick zone feature. So that at any one time, I went to Unrest and there was 100 different instances of Unrest. So you could probably find an open camp in Unrest, no matter how crowded that zone was. No matter how many different instances. I mean, so let's imagine this. Guy's the Deceiver. It's a limited drop only for the first. Snowing in common lands. What the heck? This only drops during the classic expansion, Guy's the Deceiver, where anybody can click this Dark Elf illusion. It's not that bad on live because you have instancing. You can have multiple different versions of Lower Guck out at the same time. It is going to be a freaking nightmare on P99. That camp is going to be perma-locked because there's only going to be one zone. There's only going to be one Lower Guck for the whole entire freaking server. There's only going to be one assassin that could possibly spawn at any one time. It is going to be a freaking nightmare if there's a lot of people playing. Instancing is a godsend for grouping, and even for raiding, it is a godsend. I'll get to it. But that is, and it's another thing of where it's this time feature. It's this time-saving feature of you don't have to sit here LFG for the whole time. Make up your own group, go into a separate instance of the same zone that you want to group in, and you'll find a spot. You don't have to compete with 50 other people who want to group in the same spot. You don't have to relocate to option B. Oh, option B, all the camps are taken there. Okay, then I have to go to option C. You don't have to deal with that crap like on P99. You can just go find the camp that you want. You don't have to do backup plans of, oh, this zone's all taken, so I have to go somewhere else. You should show the barcode, Necros. 18 boxer there right now? I heard there was an 18 boxer. I have not heard of that. You know what, dude? So, let's get on to the next thing I wanted to mention. Some of the different changes you'll notice from the two. Is it still going? Yeah, this is gonna be a long video. I'm sorry, guys. So, indoors. Charm mechanics. Dots and moving. Resist rates. On roots. Warrior taunt ability. Okay. So what do I want to go over? There's some like mechanics that are a bit different. I'm not going to say it's better or worse in any one particular example. But yes, you can sow indoors, which is a really nice thing. You cannot do that in most places on P99. You can The charming, I showed that that was in a previous video. If you want to see how charming is different for bards, that's in the last video. Dots seem to hit harder on live. On P99, if a mob is moving at full speed and you throw a dot on it, it's only going to take like half or 2/3 of the damage. Whereas on live, the dots, no matter how fast a mob is moving, still take full damage, which is nice. Resist, man. I watch videos on P99 of Necros who are just farming guards with a simple root, with the paralyzing earth, and it never broke. It lasted full duration. I could never get that to happen here on live. I could not root rot for the life of me. I could not root rot guards at all on live for some reason. It's just impossible. Next thing, and warriors seem to have this taunt ability that burns endurance, so I think they have a better time of holding aggro on live. Even though we're in a classic and they don't have as many tools, they still seem to be able to hold aggro a lot better here on live than they would have been able to in classic. Let's talk about, I've already mentioned instancing, which is the next thing I want to do. Instancing, hands down, goes to live. Instancing is a godsend feature. I'm going to talk about it specifically in rating. I already mentioned it grouping. Rating. One of the biggest things I find that was an issue playing P99 was the fact the earthquake system and the 7-day respawn system. There's only one raid target that spawns. It depends. The different raid targets have different spawn timers, but most of the big name spawns are only a 7-day timer. Finnegal, yeah, a 12-hour, I believe. Most of the big name spawns, Fox, Nagy, a lot of the Kunark ones are 7-day respawn timers, and there's 3-day respawn timers, 12-hour. There's only one for the entire server. That is an incredible amount of pipelining. That's an incredible tight funnel that you're putting certain people to go through. That makes it really difficult to complete your epic, unreasonably so. There's some content you'll never be able to experience. I was never able to kill Vox on P99 because it was always kill. I'll get into more, but I was never able to kill Vox. I was never able to kill Nagy. I was never able to kill most of the Afrides in Plane of Sky. I was never able to kill Trakanon. I was never able to kill so many of these different raid mobs. Not because I didn't have a guild who couldn't handle it. Couldn't kill any of these raid mobs because they were always killed before. They were always killed by another guild that was more competitive, that had more people tracking at any one time, that had more people who had no freaking life, who this was their entire life, I guess. There was more people in these other more elite guilds that had more time dedication to sit and spam the track button for 12-hour window on the 7th day when it's supposed to respawn than I would even care. And it sucks. There's like, I'll never, honestly, I'm only one item away from getting the epic on P99, the white scale and Gornair or Vox. I'm never gonna do it. It's too much of a time sink. I've heard stories of bards that wait a freaking year or 2 years just to get that one damn item. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You should be able to experience all the content that is available for the game. You shouldn't have to be locked out because your guild's not able to mobilize people fast enough, or the mob spawns at a bad time of day at 2 a.m. and everyone in your guild are only up around noon. You know, oh man. It's just so frustrating. Instancing unrating allows, at least the guild that I'm at, we have scheduled raids. We have 2 nights a week. Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, 8 p.m., 12 a.m. That's it. 4 hours raiding each night to a total of 8 hours. 2 days. You know exactly what you're going to be doing at the time. It's a lot easier to have a life. It's a lot easier to have a job. It's a lot easier to take care of a family when you can specifically set some time aside for the game. Whereas on P99, you never know when that raid mob is going to spawn. And God help you if there's an earthquake and all the respawn timers are reset. So your mob was spawning. Your mob was spawning on a Tuesday. It gets earthquake happens on a Friday. So now the respawns are set to a Friday. And now, oh, I could do a Tuesday because I don't work that day, but now it's a Friday and I work that day. I can't, raid that day. It sucks. You're not going to be able to, unless you have no life. Oh my god, 2 6-box necros are down here. I gotta check this out. I gotta see this. Hey, it's free money. I'll loot this stuff because it's free money. They don't want to loot it? Okay. A necro. F necro. E necro. Oh my god. Look at this. E necro. F necro. Solar. Earth. Ill spring. D necro. Weather. Oh my god, these people are oh my. What the fuck? B necro. Dude, this is broken. A necro. C necro. What a loser. A loser. Look at this. Necro pets are chasing. Hide corpse off. Look at this, a massacre. Look at this. It's just a massacre of hill giants. I gotta loot this stuff because it's just gonna rot. He's not gonna do anything with it. It's free money. Yeah, hopefully this is a good example of boxing. If you hate boxing, okay, I give you that. Life sucks. Life does not. Look at this. This is just broken. There should not be. It's 2 groups of 6 boxes of freaking necros. 12 There's this dude running 12 necros at the same time. This is a joke. Absolute joke. I mean, hey, free money, but come on. Nah, I'm good. Anyways, where was that? Instancing. Okay. Yeah, I don't have an issue. Yeah, 3 to 4 boxes I don't have an issue with. 12, are you kidding? That's too much. That's broken. That's completely broken. Mind you, I mean, this guy's paying for an account on every single one. He's paying money because you can't box for free on live. But still, this is on TLP. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. So, instancing, way better for raiding. Honestly, way better for raiding. It allows you basically to have a life and not have to deal with all the crap, and especially too when the fact that you only have one raid mob that spawns every 7 days, for instance, on P99, you can get some pretty shady behavior. You can get some really trashy behavior when it comes to that one spawn, because hey, it's only one time. You got to make the best of it while you can. And instancing doesn't necessarily make it easier to kill the raid mob. It just makes it so you don't have to compete with a bunch of other people to get an opportunity to do that content, or to be able to get the gear that you want, or to be able to finish your epic. It doesn't make it as unrealistic. And what I'll also say is, if you want to open world target, you can on live. There's still open world versions of the zones with the same exact spawn timers. You can kill a box every 7 days if you wanted on live. You're just not forced to, which is great. You don't have to. I've killed open world Finnegold before on live. It's not a big deal. We've had competition. I got to experience that, and it got nasty. But I wasn't forced to be stuck. That the only way I was ever going to kill Finnegold was in an open world, competing against other people. Quality of the people who play. / politeness. The people who play. To be honest, there's jerks on both servers, and there's nice people on both servers. The rules are different in that there's no play nice policy in effect on live, so, you know, DPS is king. Kill stealing doesn't really exist per se, even though, I mean, people will look at you bad, but it's not bannable like it is on P99. And I've seen some pretty mean boxers. This 12 boxer right now is monopolizing the whole freaking hill, giant hill, which is completely ridiculous. So is there another pick? Nope, there's no pick. So this guy is definitely monopolizing the zone. If there's another pick, it wouldn't be an issue. But the fact that this guy's a jerk. I've noticed some pretty nasty behavior from boxers, from the major boxers. Not so much the people who do 3 boxing or 4 boxing. They're pretty nice. But the major boxers, yeah, they've been pretty rude. I notice rating is also pretty toxic when it comes to P99 though. Just because the amount of competition, people can get quite nasty, and leapfrogging and all that. But I'd say it's about a tie. It's a tie, honestly, between both servers. I've already mentioned pick zone. You already know my opinion about that, which is part of instancing. So I'll put that rating and grouping. The next thing I'll mention is boxing opinion. I'm neutral on boxing. There's pros to it and there's cons to it. I've seen it be used to great effect. I've seen it where you can get pretty much power leveled by an upper level boxer, or by a box that you bring yourself that you got to 50, and it helps you out so much and tremendously. I remember I was in a group with my level 15 cleric, and someone had a box outside that was level 50 enchanter giving me clarity, and that helps so much. And crowd controlling too. If things got out of hand, we had no crowd control. It helped out so much. But then when you look at this, when there's 12 frickin' necros in 2 groups monopolizing a frickin' zone, it's broken. This is broken. This is not good. And you'll see this all the time in Ocean of Tears. You'll see a full 6-box group using MQ2, which they tab target, and every pet attacks simultaneously, which is actually hacking. That's not allowed per the policy. If you have the box, it needs to be a separate computer, separate account, and you need to individually click the buttons on each computer. You cannot use macros on TLP. That's bannable. But the problem is it's not going to get changed, because every one of these guys is paying an account subscription for TLP, and And Daybreak is desperate for cash, so they'll take it. They won't ban them. They won't ban it. They will not. Look at that. It's just a joke. They're all in a circle. They're all in a circle here. What a joke. There's pros and cons to it. There definitely is. And it's helpful in raids. Boxing can be helpful in raids when people don't want to necessarily main a cleric, but they can have a box cleric behind it or whatever it might be. It can fill slots in groups when you have issues with population levels. It helps. But it can also be really broken and exploited. It really can. In some regards, P99's policy of no boxing is a good thing, and the fact that they strictly enforce it is a very good thing. They wouldn't tolerate this crap like they do on Live. They wouldn't. But okay. So, my opinion, when you box 6, no, I'm not a fan of that. But if you box 2 to 4, 4 is kind of on the edge. 2, definitely, okay, that's fine. 3, okay, that's fine. But 4 and anything after that point, I'm kind of against it. I think it's broken at that point. It really is. You shouldn't be able to do that. Alright, Chronos. What's my opinion on Chronos? Well, perfect. These guys are farming Chrono right now. Chronos are a form of RMT, let's be honest, real money transactions. So I've got 5. Pros and cons. To be honest, I'm a fan of it. But there's also negatives. Chrono farming leads to crap like this. And where people sell it for real money online and all that. And it'll lead to garbage like this. But at the same time, let's say you don't have the time to play and you don't have the time to farm useless crap to spend the hours and all that. You could just pay someone a chrono and then buy an MQ for J-Boots, or you could pay someone a chrono and buy an item that you've always wanted but you arguably can't get yourself. Like, if I was playing a bard right now, I probably couldn't kill the mob that drops a Circlet of Shadows. I probably can't kill the mob that drops the Nereid Shawl and Siren's Grotto by myself. So the fact that I could pay someone a chrono for killing it for me and I can loot it from them, that helps out so much. And the fact that chronos never go down in value, they just keep going up. I'll show the auction website. Last week is about 3,000 for chrono. The fact that, while everything else goes down in value, the chronos just keep going up. You just keep going up. 2,000 up to 4,000. It's a great way to hold on to your money and keep it up in value. It's like investing in gold. It'll never go down in value. It just stays relative to the price of United States dollars, for instance. And it helps you out. It definitely does. It's a great store of value. And the fact you can use it for membership, even though you really don't want to be honest. You want to save it for the money value. But it leads to toxic stuff, like people who come on the TLPs just because it's easier to farm the chrono. And then they use it on their main accounts on the live servers where the chrono are like a couple million platinum just to buy items, where everything is so expensive on live. On the current day expansions, it can be kind of broken. It can be broken. So, I mean, I'm neutral. There's bad points to it, and there's also good points. Yeah. The reason I saved up Chrono is because I'm going to have a hard time getting Ixar Mask. I want that. Loot of the Howler is going to be a hard thing to get. Some other gear is going to be hard to get. Some of the illusions that I really want to get, I'm going to have a hard time, and that's why I saved up the money. To be honest, I saved up the money for Circlet of Shadows for my Necro. That's why I got those Chronos, why I farmed it. Next thing I'll mention, Origin feature. The fact that you can go back to your starting point. So if I pressed Origin, I go to the Freeport Bard Guild. Is so nice Because if you're a melee class in P99 and you get into a dungeon that's only one way out, like Sebelis, like the Hole, like what's another one? There's some other ones where there's only one way out and the exit is a different spot. I think Nagafin's Lair or something like that. One of the Souls X. You're screwed. You're screwed unless you have that level, the Worker's Sledge Mallet that only approximately like level 45 or 50 or something. Unless you have that, you have no way out of some of these zones. You honestly have no way out of Plane of Fear. You have no way out except for dying. And the origin feature helps out so much, so tremendously much if you're melee. It's a godsend. For casters, it can be a bit broken because you can bind somewhere and you can use that as your gate. So I can bind on my cleric outside of Unrest, kill a bunch there, and then when I get loaded up on loot, I can origin back to Felwith, sell, and then gate back to my bind spot in Unrest. So essentially I have two ports that are free, two spots that are free to port. A little broken, but it's a nice convenient feature when it comes to selling. Don't necessarily have that option as a melee. Yeah, you don't. That's why I bought this sizable satchel, but yeah, that's just something about it. I'll mention GM involvement. Definitely goes to P99. GMs are way more involved on P99 than they are on live. They shut down shadier stuff quicker. I mean, you can't even petition, from my understanding. Yeah, I tried to petition once because I saw some guy hacking, obviously. You can't even petition on live without using a website where you can petition in game on P99, and the GMs will act really fast. They'll respond quick. I've never seen a GM yet on live, and the GMs barely enforce stuff because they're so few in number. The staff is so few number in games that it's just a Wild West and stuff. You see stuff that's broken. I don't know, just give or take. If you prefer more Wild West, you don't like people constantly using rules and crap all over you, live is better. If you prefer more rule sets and making sure stuff is enforced, you don't have to deal with this kind of garbage, P99's got you. Look at this, F Necro and B Necro killing this mob. the alphabet Necros. And what's the last? What's the last thing I'll mention? This is the last closing notes I'll have. This video has been long, but the last closing notes. The difficulty factor versus the convenience factor. I think arguably what made P99 so fun, because it could get you emotionally involved, and that stuff would tick you off because so much was at stake. So you could lose so much was on the line. A death was horrible. A death was an incredible pain in the butt. Every single mechanic was punishing, that it made those little tiny gains even more enjoyable than it normally would be. The game, in its brutality, was arguably very fun, and it's a very unique experience, unlike any other MMO that really is out on the market. Why I still play Everquest to this day. It's because it's not WoW. It's not WoW and Classic. I heard was easier, but it's not an ESO where you get handheld the whole way. It's not one of these games like that. The game P99, I think it's a bit more fun, and just in that difficulty factor, and that since it's harder to get an item because of all the competition, since it's harder for all this stuff, that getting that one special drop, I think, is a bigger dopamine hit. It's a bigger rush than it is here on live. But you get issues with that. You get tremendous issues. And I think the biggest thing is if you have a life, if you have responsibilities, you have a job, you have a family and stuff, it's so hard to play P99 or to be competitive in it, because you almost have to have no life. You need to be able to log on at 2 a.m. in the morning on a work day. You need to be able to ditch work when a raid mob targets, log on immediately, kill it, and then, oh crap, I died, so now I have to do a corpse run that's going to take 3 hours. If you have a life, if you don't want to deal with all that garbage, if you don't want to deal with the incredible amount of a time sink that P99 is relative to live because of all the convenience features that God put in, I don't know. I'll just say this. If you're an adult, you have responsibilities, you have a life, you can't devote your life to P99, to a video game, play live. Play TLP, play live. If you want more of the classic experience, if you want a really hardcore MMO where you have to fight for every little item, you like the difficulty, you like the challenge, you like that it's more rewarding, I guess, play P99. If you don't like boxing, play P99. If you're okay with boxing, you'll humor it, play live. I like both games, but at the end of the day, my opinion is that live TLP is so long as you have someone to group with. Everquest is a grouping game. So long as you have someone to group with, someone to level up with, Everquest Live is better. But if you don't have someone to group with, then P99 is hands down way better than Live. That's why I'll say, in the scale of things, I'll say the best experience is TLP as number 1, P99, then current day, or an expansion Live. Because you have the mercenary all the way up to the max level. Practically, it's stupid. That's honestly how I feel. That's honestly my impressions. TLP is number 1. If you can find people that are group with, MP99, because you're not going to have trouble necessarily grouping, then current expansion Live. It's probably the worst experience of EverQuest, to be honest, unless you were up at that max level and you can't group. But alrighty, please let me know what you guys think. That is the end of the video here, and I'm pretty sure that despite this video ending, these guys will still be here tomorrow, the day after that, the alphabet necros. They will always be here in your hearts. And then the 6 boxers in Ocean Dipped Tears, they will always be in your hearts. Caden and Avekel de Soleil and some other guy, I think his name is Felon or something, Felan. Those freaking 6 boxers. But alright. Yep, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.